What? What? Say what? Say what? What? Say what? Oh, hey. Hey, everybody. Welcome to your midweek addiction. That's right. We've returned. The Game Hump is back on a Wednesday night. It is June.
Oh, hey. Hey, everybody.
Oh,
Welcome
hey.
to your
Hey. What's that? Can you mute your mute your thingy?
June.
That's
There we go.
me. That's me. I heard my voice. That's amazing. Hey, welcome back to the Game Huggers podcast. This week, we're all in on E3 information and E3 stories and theories and ideas and some feedback from our Game Huggers crew. This week, we're going to talk about the Entertainment Electro Expo. That's what it's called, right? The Extra Entertainment Expo. Hold on.
Yeah, I thought it was a Eurythmics convention.
Electronic Entertainment Expo. I knew I was close. Electro Expo, Extra Expo. Anyway, I wanted to quickly go over our panel this week of wonderful people. So I'll introduce them. We have joining us back again it's been quite a while, but our good friend Aaron. Aaron, how you doing? He looks frozen. Oh, there he is. Aaron, can you hear me? Hi, Aaron. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing all right. Sorry, I get kind of like glitchy, but Wi-Fi is far away, so
completely understand. Completely understand. Welcome back, sir. And back again as well is Bo Solers. How you doing, Bo?
Hey, man. How's it going?
Not bad. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Thanks, dude.
So I guess right away we will just go ahead and start off with E3. What were your overall thoughts? Was it disappointing? Was it cool? Anybody?
Well, I thought so far it's been pretty interesting. It's been kind of average though. I'd give it like a C overall for a show. I mean, other than Nintendo had some pretty big announcements, but they didn't put any gameplay with the announcements either, except for one we'll probably talk about a little bit later. So it was kind of like overall, I'd give the show a C. There was less cringeworthy moments, but less like, oh my god, I didn't see that coming. Like most of the stuff.
Uh-oh. You sound a little bit glitchy.
Man.
It's not really.
Yeah. We're losing him, Jim.
But I would agree. I would agree for the most part. I think that like Sony and Microsoft, like while Microsoft did showcase a new console, that's sort of a new console, they didn't really go completely overboard with any huge new IPs or huge new games that they're coming out with. And Sony kind of did the same thing, where they just talked about VR and a couple games here and there. But like for Nintendo fanboys and people that wound up spending a ton of money on their Switch, I think they should feel pretty good about the games that are in the pipeline for what's coming for it.
Well, like when we talked earlier in the week, Josh, like it was really curious about before E3 even came out. Like,
yeah.
What about the Switch? Like we said that all Nintendo has to do is announce some of their first party IPs and they win. Because Microsoft had a very bad showing and Sony had a pretty average showing, honestly. Then Nintendo announces Pokemon on the Switch, Metroid Prime 4 on the Switch, which, holy shit, Metroid Prime 4. And then they announced Zelda DLC. I mean, those are just announcements. Only one game is in production right now, which was pretty much why everybody has bought a Switch for current gen. But, I mean, even still, like, Nintendo was the only one to launch any first-party IPs or talk about their first-party IPs. Like you said, Sony was only talking about their hardware, and Microsoft was talking about what?
Their new system. Like it's
hardware. Yeah, the X10, X1X.
Yeah, the Xbox One X. So that the acronym is Xbox again. Awesome. It's a little weird. They were like stumbling all over themselves too for most of the week. They were talking about how, it's going to be huge because you'll be able to do 60 frames per second and it's going to have 4K and it's going to have all this. And then like after the PS4 or the Sony conference, there was a representative from Microsoft who was talking about Destiny 2, how on the Xbox One X, you know, there were questions like, hey, does this mean Destiny 2 on the Xbox One X will be 60 frames per second? Will it be 4K? Will it be this? Because you got this super awesome system. And the representative basically just said like, I don't think people are really that excited for 60 frames per second. It'll be 30. And it's like, what are we going to buy? Why are we spending $499 on a new Xbox system for exactly? What games are going to support it? If Destiny's 2 or Destiny 2 is not even going to support it, why are we so excited for this?
Well, I mean,
there's no.
Go ahead, Aaron.
I was gonna say that there's no way in hell that Xbox One X is gonna be doing 4K 60 frames a second. No way. That
Especially for Destiny. It won't
especially
happen.
It can't do it natively. It doesn't have the power. Like the graphics card it has in it, even overclocked with liquid cooling, doesn't have the power to do 4K 60 frames a second natively. So when they're saying that, they're mostly talking about upscaling.
Yeah, Sony's in the same bucket. The PlayStation 4 Pro just cannot physically handle the strain of a Destiny 2 type game at 4K. It can handle other games like Call of Duty or what was that, Forza that they introduced? Xbox did, of course, at the beginning of their conference. Like those games can handle it because they don't have a lot going on in their world. There's not a lot going on the screen besides these couple of cars that are in front of you. Now, skyboxes can look pretty, but they're not really all that asset intensive, are they? Like for real-time rendering? I'm asking.
I don't know if Aaron is glitching out again, and I can't even answer the question. I can't answer the question because I have honestly no idea.
So the way that it's explained is Destiny is a game where the entire world is living. It's like an MMO. Have you played Horizon Zero Dawn? Like it's Horizon Zero Dawn-ish now, or well, when Destiny 2 comes out, it'll be Horizon Zero Dawn-ish, and it's going to be very intricate and so many different things you can do and so many physics and things are there that aren't in other games.
Yeah,
I'm not elevating Destiny 2 to some untouchable level. I'm trying to explain conceptually that you have one gigantic ball of wax that is Destiny 2 that can only run, 30 frames per second stably at 4K. And whereas if you have Forza or Call of Duty, those games, they're not a huge ball of wax. They're like a small ball of yarn on the floor that you only focus on one or two things on the screen at a time. There aren't many other interactions. With Call of Duty, it's mainly just like PvP maps and things, and that's you only have to focus on your the other characters and the textures that are right in front of you. Now, granted, the Destiny games do the exact same thing, but there's so much more that's there that has to go into a 4K resolution that it's just not physically possible with Xbox One X and the PS4 Pro. I saw some of the graphics cards for PC that that are like the new high-end graphics cards to run Destiny 2, and those suckers are expensive. They're between $700 and $800. That's insane.
The thing that so Destiny, the thing that gets me about that and makes me interested in wanting to try it out is that a lot of people are comparing it to Phantasy Star Online. They're basically saying like, if you took PSO and mixed it with a little bit of a first-person shooter, you would get Destiny. And I have been dying for a new Phantasy Star game to play since Phantasy Star Online 2, or whatever you want to call Phantasy Star Online Episode 4 that was on the PC. Because I was disappointed in Phantasy Star Universe, and I've been disappointed in pretty much everything that they've tried to do with Phantasy Star since the Dreamcast Phantasy Star Online games. And I have got to be honest, I haven't played much Destiny. I have played more Halo, which I know Halo is a similar aspect since Bungie created both of those games. But is that a fair assumption? Is that a fair example? Is that like Destiny would be interesting because if you're a PSO fan, you'd like it?
So Phantasy Star Online was pretty unique for its time and what it did. Phantasy Star Online was, what was it, 4 people at a time? Yeah, 4, one for each corner of the screen. And there was preset dungeons. Sometimes they were random, right? But it was still like the same theme in every area. And you had random weapon drops. You had super hard to get rare drops and all that kind of thing. And it was really all about the grind for those games. How much time were you going to put into it to get what you wanted out of it? Destiny was the same way. I think Destiny got a bad rap because of some production setbacks, because Activision got involved, because there weren't content updates, because things weren't handled very well. I mean, according to the community, of course. And I think that it just gave it sort of a bad rap. It really does feel like there were guns in Phantasy Star Online, but it was mainly like a third-person type deal.
Sure.
And you had melee weapons and of the like too, but it really feels like if Phantasy Star Online went strictly to guns, and that's what Destiny feels like. Destiny 1.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's awesome. I mean, and when does Destiny 2 launch? Is that in September?
September 6th. Yep.
Cool.
And October 24th on PC, but September 6th for the consoles.
Yes.
Okay.
Good distinction to make. Yeah.
And which version are you going to get? PS4?
I'm probably going to start off on PlayStation 4. There were actually statements made by the community managers at Bungie that they are currently investigating cross-save functionality, where
nice.
they said it's not available at launch, but it's something that they're talking about and trying to, I guess, figure out. Because it won't be there at launch, but they're currently taking a look at it, where you could transfer your save between a console and a PC. Now, for Xbox, I can see that being really easy because, I mean, the platforms are so similar.
Yeah.
But Sony has never really been a good team player, at least in the past couple of years, when it comes to the console wars, especially now that Microsoft has united sort of the Minecraft community.
Yeah.
And like Sony just didn't want any part of it.
There's some actually interesting details about that with Minecraft, though. Apparently, so part of the reason why Sony didn't want to deal with it is because they have to sign into their Xbox Live account because it's all hosted on Xbox Live servers. So I can understand some apprehension from Sony being like, we don't want to put our stuff on, we don't want to have people connecting to your servers, then blaming PSN if there's an Xbox Live, break or something like that. So I can somewhat understand why Sony would be apprehensive about that. But with Rocket League, I have no idea why they because Rocket League also did cross network, but Sony's not a part of that. So I don't know.
Hey, speaking of that, I'm sure you guys know, but it's actually on the list of games coming out on the Nintendo Switch.
I know, I'm excited. Rocket League on Switch is going to be amazing.
Complete with Nintendo character hats and stuff for all the cars. It's going to be.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't know that part. I didn't know that part.
There's like Mario, Luigi, Yoshi, and Princess cars. It's pretty awesome.
Wow. That is going to be cool.
Yeah. I find that kind of interesting because like when Nintendo started their conference, they had this big esports thing. They had Splatoon 2, they had Rocket League, they had FIFA, but they showed FIFA with multiplayer, like it was like they were making this big, massive esports push. And then they were like, by the way, we're not going to announce Smash, which I thought was funny because I'm like, well, what a better opportunity to announce Smash than making a big esports push.
I think it's better that they wait because already they've got a pretty stellar lineup of games. I think having Smash Brothers wait probably for a little bit is a smart idea. But the cool thing about it is FIFA 18 being on the list of games. That means EA Sports is on board with the Switch, which is something they did not have in the last generation with the Wii U. So that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
Not that I'm going to buy it or anything, but I'm just saying it's good to see that they have more.
I was going to say, if you're a fan of EA and you're buying the Switch for sports games, I don't know.
Well, I would probably be interested in playing like NFL Madden on handheld with friends would be pretty sweet, I think.
Yeah, but that's not the reason you're going to go buy a Switch. You're going to buy a Switch for the first-party IPs. And I know that EA, it's cool to get EA on board to sell their games on the Switch and have their games on the Switch. But in reality, you're going to play 2 or 3 games of whatever EA Sports flavor of the week thing that you're going to do. And then you're going to go back to Zelda. You're going to go back to Metroid. You're going to go back to Smash Brothers. You're going to go back to
true.
Splatoon or Mario Kart.
I think, though, that Nintendo and their third-party support on like their handhelds, like the DS and the 3DS, especially over the last like 5 to 10 years, it's been more than just their first-party IPs. It's been a lot of like Japanese-style RPGs. It's been a lot of like Final Fantasies and and a lot of Square, a lot of other game types, dance games, more rhythm type of games and stuff that have been really popular. And I think they're going to start showing up more on the Switch within the next year or two when they start to phase out of the 3DS and go towards the handheld portion of what's going to be available on the Switch.
Part of that is actually brings up something that I kind of want to mention about Ubisoft. So Ubisoft, kind of when they started their thing, they showed the Mario and Rabbids thing, which is big third-party support.
Yep.
But then they didn't.
Did you watch a trailer of that, by the way?
Yeah, it's XCOM.
I am shocked at how weird it looks. Like, it looks like a good game, and I'm really pissed off at myself for thinking that.
Yeah, but like the weird thing to me is like Ubisoft. Yeah, it looks like a really good game, but like Ubisoft, it's like XCOM based, actually. A really good game.
Yeah,
so
that's what people were comparing it to. They were saying it's like
made this
like
big deal
XCOM.
in partnership with Nintendo, and then didn't put Assassin's Creed. When they didn't put Assassin's Creed Origins on there, and they didn't put Skull and Bones, which I know could run on there because it's basically the same engine that was running off the Wii U for Assassin's Creed 4. And I'm kind of surprised to see them not put their biggest because Assassin's Creed Origins got to run on PC, which means it's got to run on somewhat low spec PCs, which the Switch can handle that. So the Switch should be able to handle Assassin's Creed Origins and should be able to handle Skull and Bones, but they're not putting those games on the Switch. So that's, to me, is somewhat interesting because I understand why they didn't do it with last year's Assassin's Creed Enzo or Ezio, whatever mix. But like for this year, I was kind of surprised not to do it.
The Enzo collection.
The Enzo.
What do we got here? We got a couple of
haters.
Got a couple of haters. Okay, I just want to quickly look at here though. On my Nintendo Switch itself, I've got a few tidbits on news and information here, and I just want to kind of get your opinion quick on some of the bigger games that it's got listed here. So I'll just start at the bottom of the list. Skyrim, Elder Scrolls 5, I believe the only thing, what is it, Bethesda? Is that the company that made that? It's like, they don't make...
Isn't that their like main game? They just re-release Skyrim every year?
Yeah, I think that's pretty much what it is. They don't need to make any new games. They're just going to release Skyrim on every console ever made. But I think there's a humongous advantage to getting it for the Switch, and that is portability, being able to just play it anywhere, sit on a subway, at a park, anything, and just pull up Skyrim, especially with the amiibo support, with all the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild amiibos. That's going to be freaking awesome.
Yeah, that was an instant sell. When I saw that functionality, the amiibo functionality in Skyrim, it was literally an instant sell because every Zelda amiibo from who knows how long ago to everyone that's going to be released is going to sell out immediately, and the prices are going to skyrocket.
I know.
Zelda is probably one of the most popular franchises out there for Nintendo, and I can tell you, I went amiibo hunting. You can call me a sellout, call me whatever you want. I love the little damn figures, but these little sons of guns are like $12, $13 brand new when you get them. Yep. But when it comes to resale value, I think old Smash Brothers amiibos are now in the $60, $70, $80 range, and it is absolutely ridiculous. Now adding that sort of functionality to Skyrim, the realism that's there is like it's every Legend of Zelda person's dream. Now, like it's perfect. It's even a step further than Twilight Princess. I mean, because you saw the detail of I don't know how early the build is of Sky Zelda or Skyrim, Skyrule. Skyrule is what I was calling it. A mix of Skyrim and Hyrule because it looks so damn good. But so when they announced the amiibo functionality with it, it was an instant sell. Like that was amazing.
Yeah, I haven't played a whole lot of Skyrim ever. I have it on the I almost said Dreamcast. I have it on the Dreamcast. That's pretty cool. No, I have it on. I got it out of I got it out of a clearance bin for the PS3 just like maybe 6 months ago or so. And I was planning on playing through it on the PS3, but now I'm just going to wait until the Switch version comes out because, yeah, that'd be the ultimate version for me to play. Okay, so we talked a little bit about Mario and Rabbids, the Kingdom Battle game, but it's really strange. Like you were saying, Aaron, it is more similar to XCOM. It is not a party game. It's not like a rhythm game or anything crazy like some of the other Rabbids games have been. It's actually like a strategy RPG XCOM type game. It actually looks really fun. What do you think about some of the gameplay that they've been showcasing for Super Mario Odyssey? What are your thoughts on that?
I can play as a T-Rex. I've never been happier for a Mario game in my entire life. I was like, oh my god, I could play as a T-Rex. I'm sold. I didn't read the rest of it, whatever. But no, it looks really awesome. It kind of looks like a return to Super Mario 64, and then they added this ability, like the Kirby style, like controlling enemies, sort of. But this time you actually get to possess an enemy instead of just absorbing their powers. So I thought that looked really awesome. I'm really excited for that.
I thought it was just another typical Mario game. I mean,
we haven't gotten one of those in a long time. We haven't gotten one in a long time.
No, not a typical Mario game. What really sort of like made me tilt my head and like, wow, that would be really, really cool, is they went like a Zelda, A Link Between Two Worlds deal, where you can actually like transform with old sound effects and everything into the 2D Mario again, and go through like a very short side-scrolling sequence while still in this 3D world. And it brings a wave of nostalgia over you with the way the graphics, the gameplay, the sounds, because the music even changes when you go into this 2D bit. And Nintendo plays heavily off of the nostalgia factor when they do this, and they know that it's going to bring people in. So when I first saw that, I fell victim to the nostalgia piece, and I was like, well, wow, that is really cool. And even if I only rent the game, I mean, that's a sole reason for me just to rent the game. Forget being hooked on any of the other small intricacies of Mario that end up always being there that you want to sort of master, like really easy to pick up, but be hard to master.
Right.
And it was really good. I can't deny it. It was really good.
I like the seamless transition that they had there too. If you watch some of the gameplay, you see a seamless transition from the 2D into the 3D. I'm like, that's really impressive and looks really awesome. Like, yeah, the whole thing that they showed off, I was like, it just seems like a culmination of what we've seen for a traditional type of Mario, of like Super Mario World and Super Mario 64, like kind of meeting together. And I'm like, I'm cool with this.
Yeah. I really enjoyed it.
Hey, Sarumaru-san, welcome to the Game Hump.
Thanks. How are you guys doing?
Pretty good. We're talking about Super Mario Odyssey and how awesome it looks.
It does look awesome. I'm excited for it. I was actually pretty excited for most of the Nintendo thing. Even though I'm not a huge Nintendo fan, it was cool.
But you're a huge Switch fan.
Yeah, the Switch has been pretty cool. It's very versatile with its portability.
Right. I what we were talking about just a moment ago too, about like it seems like a traditional Mario 3D adventure. Like the thing about it is we haven't gotten one of those in forever. Like the Wii U did not get a traditional new Mario 64 type sequel. Like we certainly did get Super Mario 3D World, but that was more of like a spin-off or a big brother game to the 3DS game, Super Mario 3D Land. And it didn't play very much like Mario 64. It played more like a top-down, 3/4 view type Mario game, and it was awesome. It was a fantastic game, but to get like an original brand new Mario game that is only exclusively for one thing, not a spin-off, not a big brother game, like this is the first time we've gotten that since Super Mario Galaxy, which I believe was like 6 years ago. So it's kind of a big deal. And I think for this fall and this holiday season, it's going to be a massive seller. And it's going to be a big deal. It's going to sell some systems, I think.
For sure.
What are you guys' thoughts on like the Kirby and the Yoshi games that they were showcasing?
I really would say close to
so, Aaron, you sounded like a robot, and that was pretty cool. I was curious if that was going to be their final like names of the games, like if they're just going to call them Kirby and Yoshi.
I kind of like Dreamland stuff more than the.
We're losing you, Aaron. We're losing you,
buddy.
No,
come back to us. Come back to us.
Aaron's on a connection that makes him sound like
I think that is probably their town because they have a complete logo for them. Probably.
Wow.
Aaron's on a connection that most Destiny players are on.
Sorry, what do you think of Yoshi and Kirby?
I thought the Kirby game looked pretty cool.
I'm excited for every Kirby game, so it's like
it looks like a cool like 4-player like cooperative platformer type thing. Right. Yeah, it looked really good. I mean, graphically, it wasn't fantastic. It's nothing that it couldn't be done on the Wii U or the 3DS, but I think it's going to be about the fun factor with that one.
Exactly. Yep. Yeah, that one, and Yoshi looks like it's a sequel to that Yoshi's Woolly World that came out on the Wii U, which was a great game. It really is a great game. It's a simplified version of like the other Yoshi games that we've gotten, but this one seems like it's pretty much a follow-up to that one, which I'd be totally cool with playing. Okay, let's jump. Okay, there's one other one that's maybe not on anybody's radar, but it looked kind of cool just from the trailers, but maybe they always look cool, and that was Sonic Forces. Now, well, honestly, like, it looked cool, and I know that obviously Sonic, whatever that Sonic, horrible Sonic one that came out on the Wii U, and Sega
Sonic
has not
2006.
Yeah, right. I know Sega has not had a very good track record with their Sonic games lately, but this year we've got Sonic Forces and Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania does look amazing, and I can't wait to play that one. I hope it gets a physical release, but I kind of doubt it. But Sonic Forces looks like a sequel to Sonic Generations, which actually was pretty fun, where it includes both Sonic of the current version of him, where he's got like the tall legs and everything, and then like the old chubby Sonic from like the Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis days.
Right.
And it was cool because in the trailer it shows the gameplay switching from the 3D, the first person view, to the side scrolling, and it kind of like just like Sonic Generations, and they're just flying through the levels and stuff. And at the end it shows like the Sonic and the old Sonic and the new Sonic, and they're running towards the screen, and they're like, oh, and they look up, and there's Metal Sonic, there's Shadow, there's the Chaos from Sonic Adventure, and then there was some other bad guy. I can't remember who it was, but it was like all the main like bad guys from all the good Sonic games, and it was like, oh man, this is gonna be pretty cool. And then like behind them, some like crazy looking cloaked characters floating up, and you can barely see it, but it's really cool looking. There's all these things waving, or all these things floating around it, and then he like shoots them at him, and then just goes like Sonic Forces coming this fall or whatever. I'm like, I would like to try this, but I know my expectations should probably stay pretty low. Anybody else see that? Anybody else excited for Sonic Forces? No.
I'm not too excited for it, but I'm glad that Sonic Mania is happening because I'm big on 2D. So
I'm really excited for Sonic Mania. It looks
super
really fun.
hyped for Mania.
Was not on my radar. Then again, Sonic never really has been, unfortunately.
Sonic's the only blue bomber worth playing. Ooh.
Oh man, see.
Well, I'll play the new Sonic game. You play the new Mega Man game. Oh, you don't have a new Mega Man game? I'm so sorry.
There's a Mega Man collection coming out. Come on now.
I know, right? The
Legacy Collection 2.
What's going to be on it? Isn't it Mega Man Legends is going to be on it or something?
No, it's just like Mega Man 7, 8, 9, and 10.
Ah, that's really weird.
So, okay, 7's good, 9's good, 10's good, sweet.
7 was 8 was 9 and 10 are great.
How funny!
Yeah,
I feel the opposite. I liked 7 and 8 a lot, and then 9 and 10 were like bleh. I don't know. I felt like they could have expanded on the events that was happening in Mega Man 8, and then they decided, oh, you know what? The hell with that story arc. Let's just go back to old style Mega Man because it's easy to do, and Capcom's lazy as shit.
Well, Capcom is lazy as shit, but
that is one thing that I'm very, very disappointed in Capcom with, is that they don't, like, Mega Man is a separate French fry. Mega Man is a separate French fry. Mega Man X is another French fry over here. Like, one's seasoned fries, one's a curly fry, and they're not linking them together, even though they have similar heritage that's there. And I really want Capcom, well, not just me, I think the entire Mega Man community, at least 99% of it, wants to have that link between Dr. Light of Mega Man fame and his creation of X, and Wily's creation of Zero, and that gap. So,
yep.
I mean, there's untapped potential there that will give Capcom that wave of nostalgia without Street Fighter in the title.
Yep, and you are absolutely correct. And that's one of the reasons why I was so upset that they didn't expand upon the story of Mega Man 8, because they started getting to the point to where they were showing flashbacks of, Dr. Wily, and kind of talking about, you know, getting into like that whole like X thing, you know, and then in X4 they kind of have flashbacks about, you know, possibly Dr. Wily creating Zero, and then they were just like, you know what, fuck it, who cares? We got Resident Evil to make, and that was that.
Yeah.
How disappointed? I mean, how excited and then disappointed were you guys with Mighty Number 9?
Oh,
Man.
I hadn't even opened. I bought a physical copy for $10. I never opened it. I ended up giving it to one of my nephews. I had a digital version of it that I was playing that I think I torrented because I didn't want to like open the physical one. But then I didn't even care to keep the physical one, so I was like, gameplay was not the best, and it didn't look anything like it was promised. You know, like initially there was a lot of screenshots of what it was going to look like, and people were like, man, this looks really good. Right. You know, the light sourcing was amazing in these, but they were mock-up images, and then the game came out and it had all sorts of really shitty like frame rate issues, and it wasn't what I was expecting from somebody who helped make most of the early Mega Man stuff.
Right. Yeah, I hadn't played it a whole lot, but I knew something was messed up with it right when I started playing. Like, it was overly difficult in certain areas. It was just cheap. It was just unbalanced. And the glitches were out of this world. I can't believe that they did a Kickstarter for this and just completely blew it out of the water. They made enough money, you know, to make a decent game, and it just... Yeah.
That reminds me of the new Friday the 13th game that just came out. Like, it bombed coming out of the gates. Like, it got a hell of a lot of support on Kickstarter, but it bombed coming out. Thankfully, the developers have been pushing out patches for each platform at least every other day. Well, every other few days to get the game up and running. But so yeah, it sounds really familiar. And I'm really
I knew a lot of people that bought it. So you don't mean bombed as in like it didn't sell. It was just like
not what people were expecting, maybe.
Maybe.
Yeah, well, people were expecting to play. They're expecting to do certain things.
Oh, right.
And like they couldn't play. They couldn't do things they wanted to. And when they tried to do things they wanted to, like roll perks or just do things in the game, you get disconnected. It would just it would just be really bad. I think launch weekend you barely got to play just because of issues.
That sounds crummy. But you know what? That game had a lot of funny glitches, though. Like, I was watching a bunch of glitch videos of, like, people, like, just walking in the air and stuff. I was like, that's cool.
So didn't mean to derail, sorry.
Oh, no, it's all good. Xenoblade Chronicles. I hadn't played a whole lot of Xenoblade Chronicles on the Wii U. I know a couple friends that have. Matter of fact, one of our video series is on our YouTube channel for Gamehuggers, Meng. One of our good friends, Meng, he played through the entire game, and we have it all captured and up available for you guys to watch. And it looks like a lot of fun, a really great action RPG. But the sequel is coming out this fall, so that's kind of crazy.
It looks cool. I mean, I'm not familiar with the series, so I can't really say much about it, but it visually it looks nice.
It does. It looks very good. That and Fire Emblem Warriors. We're getting another Dynasty Warriors game for the Switch.
Yeah, dude. They're going crazy with those Musou games. It's pretty much like any license they can slap on, you know, the Musou name onto. It's cool, though. I mean, I'm not a Fire Emblem guy, but Hyrule Musou or Zelda Warriors, or is that what it's called? Hyrule Warriors.
Hyrule Warriors, yeah.
That was cool. That was a cool way to see that franchise in a like hack and slash environment.
Right. I hadn't played that one. I don't know what that one's like. It's sort of a mystery to me. And then we have Metroid Prime 4, which was basically just a title screen with some creepy, awesome Metroid remix music behind it. That's we got no information about it at all, but there's already pre-orders at GameStop for it. So
it's very interesting because the coloring and the theme, first the musical theme for it was the traditional Metroid Prime theme, for the series, but the visual representation of what was there is lends credence to Dark Samus coming back, which, I mean, how many times we got to kill that thing? Because in Metroid Prime 3 was perfect, and it's, as far as a Prime game goes for the Metroid series, Prime 3 was perfect. It had a nice story arc. It had characters you kind of sort of cared about, and you had different locales. You had, you had your ice planet, your fire planet. You had all that with the typical music of like Norfair and Brinstar and Meridia, and it had a middle and it had an end, and it played off the nostalgia for Mother Brain, and you seemingly destroyed everything. So it's really, really interesting to see that they're going with like a visual representation of like the dark blues and blacks that typically follow Dark Samus around. But it was just hearing the music and seeing the title screen, my hype was off the charts. I can't even tell you how much I'm excited about having another Metroid game. Prime specifically, because Metroid Other M really doesn't exist.
So do you might know, Bo, the team that's working on this new Metroid is the same team that's working on that worked on the previous Metroid Prime games?
So Metroid Prime 4 or Retro Samus Returns?
I'm sorry, 4?
4 is not Retro Studios.
Okay.
Retro did Prime 2, and Prime 3. Actually, look, I shouldn't say that. From what I can tell, Nintendo has not said it was developing Prime 4. So, Retro Studios, you think would be a shoe-in for it, but you know how Nintendo kind of likes to outsource their IPs to different publishers.
Well, I hope they don't do anything stupid with it though, and give it to like, I don't know, like someone, I don't know, I can't think, maybe like Bungie or something. I hope they don't do anything dumb like that. But like,
well, I definitely don't want them to go another Team Ninja route.
No. No. I think Retro Studios, the last game that they had developed was that multiplayer Metroid game on the 3DS, which bombed horrifically.
The Hunters? Was it?
Yeah. No, there was Hunters on the DS, and then there was that like Galactic Marines or something like that, or whatever it was called.
Oh, wow. No idea.
Do y'all remember when Metroid was made by Nintendo?
Do y'all remember? Isn't that what? Okay, so speaking of that, there is a new Metroid coming out on the 3DS this fall.
Yes. Oh my god!
A remake of Metroid 2: Samus Returns. So like that is developed by Nintendo, I believe.
Is it? Yeah. I thought that was being outsourced too.
I don't know, but it definitely gives us a reason why now that we can kind of look at and see why Nintendo's been having such a hard on to try to send a cease and desist to AM2R, another Metroid 2 remake. So like they've been trying to get that killed for years now, probably because they're in the development of making their own Metroid 2 remake. So that's going to be a big deal, and the gameplay for it looks really great. It looks like and honestly, it has elements in it, and Bo kind of is the one that pointed this out to me, I think just today. It has a little bit of elements of Metroid Other M in it, where it does those change of views when you're in close combat, or you're trying to like, it's more similar to, I guess, like God of War, when you're at a certain like boss area or whatever. But like Metroid Other M also incorporated that, where you're playing side-scrolling and you have melee strikes for when things get too close, and when something's like on top of you, it switches camera views into this like first-person view, and it's pretty cool. It looks really brilliant.
Yeah, it's not necessarily like a full melee ability. Like you're not going to go full like wrestler mode on something that gets too close, but it looks like there's a counter ability where you can sort of parry and toss something off to the side and then shoot it. This is like Samus Returns, you actually have full free aim shooting with her arm cannon. It's not up, down, left, or right. So it's definitely going to be a change. I'm reading an article on Kotaku now, I think it's by Schreier, that says the game's soundtrack is also being composed by 2 of the composers that worked on the original SNES Super Metroid. So as far as I can see, it's going to be very, very difficult for this game to fail, because it looks almost exactly like Super Metroid with, an updated Super Metroid. This is what it looks like. But it's Return of Samus.
That's awesome. Yeah, I'm pretty unbelievably stoked for it.
Did you guys already talk about everyone else's offerings? Like, Microsoft and Sony?
We kind of did a little bit, but we jumped right into Nintendo. So yeah, we should definitely talk more about Sony and Microsoft because I don't have a whole lot to go on here because I just know that from what I heard, Microsoft kind of shot their load all over everyone with the Xbox One X and basically stumbled over themselves a little bit. And Sony was like, hey, we have a few cool IPs like God of War, but hey, you should really play VR because that's the future. And then like, okay.
And then they show us like one crap VR game.
Yeah. So, I mean, go for it. What is there something you'd like to talk about with Sony?
I was just wondering what was talked about because they showed off a bunch of things like more God of War, more of that Detroit game, which looks really cool. Still no release date on that, but it looks cool. Some other VR crap. Ni no Kuni 2. Ni no Kuni 2 was announced. That looks pretty good.
PS4 for me.
Yeah, and that was kind of the sleeper hit on the PS3. Not really, people didn't really pick up on that here.
Right.
But, who knows? It might be the same with Ni no Kuni 2, but it looks awesome.
A lot of people were calling Ni no Kuni the Blue Dragon killer.
Blue Dragon need to be killed.
Right. I was gonna say,
it was dead on arrival.
I was gonna say, Blue Dragon was already kind of dead itself.
Yeah, I know.
I'm just teasing. Since we're moving forward to like Xbox and Sony, can I move back one bit because we had a new addition to the podcast. What do you think of the Amiibo system and how Nintendo's really incorporating that into things that aren't necessarily pure Nintendo IP?
I think that's for Saru Maro-san.
Oh,
yeah,
things that aren't.
Let's show me your Amiibos.
Me?
No, I'm kidding.
No, okay, because I have to move to another room. I do have a lot of them.
Yeah, I've got a bunch of other ones too. I was just curious, like, what you thought about, like, as Nintendo unveiled, was it 7 new Amiibos? 3 for the new Mario Rabbids game, and then 4 for the Zelda DLC. Actually, 4 for the second Zelda DLC, if I'm remembering correctly.
Those look cool. Those look really nice. I like how those look. Like I might be picking those up. I don't care about like the wedding Bowser and Mario and Peach, but the Zelda ones looked cool.
Right.
I say I don't care, but I'm probably gonna get them anyway.
What are your? Actually, it's probably not a bad idea to pre-order those because as we were talking before, like any of the Zelda amiibos are just skyrocketed in rarity and price ever since Breath of the Wild came out.
Right.
Now Skyrim has that Zelda amiibo functionality. I can only see them going even higher. So I mean, I've had notifications for Amazon and for Best Buy and for Walmart having amiibo pre-orders, and they're limiting people to 1. And you can't get any more than that. And then they're canceling pre-orders because they can't even get these amiibos at all, even after they've sold the pre-orders for them.
Do you think we're going to get... Oh, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Not to mention that there's an exclusive, and I really despise this. There is a special amiibo for almost every single media outlet. Like Amazon has its own special one, GameStop has a special one, Walmart has a special one, and did I say Amazon? I might have said Amazon. I'm so flustered I'm repeating this.
Yeah, that kind of sucks. Like, I don't like when they do that, when they have like, because they did that same crap with Rosalina and some other ones where they had them like at certain like vendors, and it took me forever to get that one because you know it was a Target exclusive and you couldn't get it for the longest time. I think we ended up getting the Australian version because we couldn't get the US version of that.
That's a really cool thing too, because amiibos aren't region locked. So I actually had to buy a Chinese Ganondorf sealed because I couldn't find one in the US that was cheaper than $50-$60 brand new. Yeah, I could buy a Chinese. I could buy a Chinese one that was it $18 I think, which was still higher than like the $12 or $15.
Yeah, but better than $50 for sure.
Yeah, and get it shipped and still have it be a quarter of the cost of one on eBay or Amazon. But
isn't that crazy?
It is insane. I mean, it's cool because it's really microtransactions. You're paying for unlimited microtransactions from a small figure that represents something that you really like in a game.
That's already in the game.
Right. Yeah. Right. So it's I don't know if Nintendo gets enough flack for it. Maybe I just haven't heard it.
I don't think so.
It's a genius marketing move. I'll tell you that.
It is. Yep.
I mean, people pay a lot of money for collectibles and like little trinkets and stuff to show, hey, look at how much of a gamer I am because I got these toys and stuff. And not only is it that, I mean, not only is it a $12 little trinket or toy to show off your gaming knowledge or gamingness or whatever, it also is something that you can incorporate into the game. So I think it's brilliant. I mean, I really do think that amiibos are cool. They're dorky and whatever. At first, when they first were released, I thought, what a horrible idea. Nintendo's so stupid. And then, of course, they're freaking outselling like everything. So it's like, oh, they're brilliant. Never mind, you know?
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you guys... Sorry, I was going to ask, do you guys think we're going to get generic Skyrim Man and Link outfit amiibo?
You know, we might. I know that they're going to be using Zelda amiibos with Skyrim. But if there were Skyrim amiibos as well, oh my god.
I didn't even think of the inverse. Like, the implications of that are just making my wallet weep right now. My girlfriend loves Zelda, and she loves Skyrim. The two being put together, oh my, I can't. I
can see there being one for like one of the dragons from Skyrim. I don't see them doing too much for Skyrim in terms of amiibo though, because
I doubt it.
There's not really many iconic things other than like the giants and the dragons. So I don't really know where they're gonna get the ability.
I could see them making an oversized dragon amiibo. I could see it.
I don't know. I don't know if Bethesda would be cool with it. I was more or less just being facetious because Skyrim Man dressed as Link looks ridiculous, but it'd be funny if there was like an amiibo for it.
Well, you could have that stuff in Breath of the Wild. Then you could run around as a Skyrim guy. Like that's huge too.
That would be cool. People would buy into that, I think.
Oh yeah,
for sure.
Yeah.
So why don't we go around here in our closing kind of statements here and talk about things that were announced at E3 that is an absolute for sure must buy for you this fall or this, when it's released, say for the holidays or whatever. Aaron, why don't we start with you? What is something that you found to be a absolute must buy? First, you need a Switch. You need to get a Switch, man.
I do need to get a Switch. From E3 itself, because there's some stuff like Total War Warhammer 2, which was a must-buy before E3 anyways. But from E3 itself, probably Spider-Man, which isn't coming out until sometime next year. But that looked really cool. It looked like it kind of had some of that Arkham-style gameplay and combat, but also mixed with Uncharted-style set pieces. So I'm as a huge Spider-Man fan, I'm really excited for that. Nice. And I just love to see a comic book hero in a quality game, like not just like because Batman got that with Arkham, but other than that, it's mostly been like, well, these are good for superhero games, and this one looks like it's just a good game.
Yeah, you hear that very often about like, oh, it's good for a superhero game, because 9 times out of 10, superhero games just take a game engine and just slaps their superhero on it, like Assassin's Creed or whatever, or Prince of Persia, and it's like, oh, well, just throw the superhero on it and you got a game. I thought it was one of my favorite Spider-Man game ever is one that actually came out on the PlayStation and the Dreamcast and probably the N64 too, and that was just Spider-Man, which was I think Activision, can't remember. Neversoft made it, and it was basically, it used the Tony Hawk engine using Spider-Man, and it was a really cool game.
Wow.
Yeah, I remember that. It's pretty cool.
Sarumaru-san, how about you? Your E3.
Dragon Ball.
Dragon Fighters Ball?
Fighters Ball Z Kai Super.
That's really what you're excited about? Was it because it's by ArcSoft or A?
Because it's by Arc System Works.
Yeah.
And they make really tight, like as far as gameplay goes, their fighters are really good, super responsive, and I mean graphically it looks really good. Yeah. And we haven't had like a really good. It looked good, right? Like it looked like you're watching a Dragon Ball cartoon.
Yeah, it looked like a seamless transition from fight scene to anime scene to fight scene back and forth. Like it looked really, really good. I was impressed.
Yeah. But they did it like quick too. It wasn't like like any of the entries that we had from like Atari when they made the Dragon Ball games. They were like sluggish, and it just They all looked really bubbly and weird. Granted, that's the technology now too. That helps a lot. But yeah, I was really excited for that one. I think I'm gonna pick that up. But I love fighting games. So
Love me some fighting games. Bo, what are your thoughts?
Well, Destiny 2 has been like a sell for me since Destiny 1, and I've been following it for a long time. But outside of that, definitely the Horizon Zero Dawn DLC. I know it's not a full new game, but Horizon Zero Dawn is an amazing game if nobody's had a chance to play it.
Yeah.
So I saw that DLC and I was like, yes, that's mine right away. And I know God of War isn't out till later, and I know Metroid Prime 4 isn't out till later. So the main things I'm looking forward to right now that are coming out this year are DLCs. We have Zelda, Horizon Zero Dawn, and then I guess, of course, the full Destiny 2 release. But I think they have a holiday DLC possibly too. So that's where I'm leaning.
Nice. I think for me, a game that I had been looking forward to more than anything that was coming out this fall was Shenmue 3, which this week we just got an announcement that it was actually going to be pushed till next summer, which is okay. I'd rather have a complete game than something rushed, so that's fine.
Yep.
It'll be out in 2018. Hopefully it's amazing, because we've been waiting for almost 2.5 years now. But what we saw at E3 was more gameplay of a game called Super Mario Odyssey, and I know we talked about that quite a bit earlier, but I think getting a new Mario game on the Switch is going to be gigantic, and I hope the game is wonderful. I can't wait for it, and that's what I'm looking forward to more than just about anything right now.
yeah, I mean that one's a given though. Like I think we're all pretty excited for it, except for I think Aaron. Right? You're not much of a Nintendo guy. Oh, are you? Okay, then we're all excited for it. So that one's a given.
Yeah.
That one and the Metroid Return of Samus, which was a big splash for E3, and that'll be out this fall as well. That's for the 3DS. I don't even have a 3DS, but I'm pretty stoked for it.
It's gonna be weird playing Metroid on my Zelda themed 3DS, but yeah, Samus Returns is definitely gonna be in my pocket.
That's awesome. So, with that being said, thank you guys so much for being on the show. For Sarumaru-san, for Bojack, Bo, and for Aaron. I'm Joshua. You can always follow me on the Twitterverse at _Joshua Turbo. Don't forget the underscore, as it is the most important underscore in all of the internet. Thank you for joining us this week on your Midweek Addiction. You can always check us out on youtube.com, our Facebook page, facebook.com/gamehuggers. And of course, if you're checking us out on TuneIn or Podomatic at the mothership on Podomatic for our audio-only versions of these podcasts, you can check us out there, as well as on, where else? I don't think maybe that's it. On TuneIn. On TuneIn. Sorry, we're on TuneIn as well. So check us out there. Everybody else, thank you guys so much for the people that have popped in and listened for a little while and came back. Thank you guys for listening. We'll see you guys later. Next week, we're actually going to have another episode, 2 weeks in a row. And next week, we're going to do an episode where we go through from the beginning of time. No, but from the beginning of the Atari era and the 2600. And we're just going to go through and debate what we think are the best games from every game system, from Atari all the way to the Xbox One.
Oh, I'm excited.
Thank you guys so much.
Ooh, that'll be fun.
That will be fun. But we're going to have to do speed run it. We're going to speed run that MFer. We're going to be like, Atari 2600, what's the best game? And Saru will be like, the best game was
Pitfall?
Pitfall. What was that?
Pitfall?
Oh, yeah, sweet. Okay, then I would say the best game was River Raid. And then we would argue for about 10 seconds. And we'd be like, all
terrible.
Right, shut your fucking face. Then we'll talk. And then we'll jump to the next thing. It'll be like ColecoVision. What was the best game? And I'll be like, something by Sega. And then Saru will be like, Dungeons and Dragons. And I'll be like, that was Intellivision, you dumb fuck. And then we'll go on to the next thing. And then we'll get to the NES. And then it'll get real as shit and serious.
Oh yeah,
Turbo. And then we'll just go.
It'll get super heated at that point. I think from that point to every other system, there'll be heated debates as far as what the best game was.
Because I'll be like, what's the best CDI game? And I'll say Burn Cycle. Then you'll be like, no, it wasn't. It was Zelda, The Adventures of Zelda. And we'll be like, you fucking moron, you crazy. And then we'll just
CDI is garbage.
Well, that's what it'll be. It'll be next week, next Wednesday. We're going to do a speed run of every game system and just talk about our favorite games. And that sounds like fun to me. So Anyway, for all the rest of these guys, take it easy. Thank you for watching. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks, man.
Yeah, see you later. Thanks, Aaron. Thanks, Bo. Thanks, Sarah. Time for bye-bye. Good night.